Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy. I am doing some post-Christmas craft cleanup, and I wanted to show you what I do with a lot of the cleanup. And I actually forgot about it until I forgot about not the cleaning up. I forgot about showing you what I was doing until I already had quite a bit of it done. But I can still show you some of the things that I do that help me when I'm going through my, like I said, post-Christmas craft cleanup stage. And one of the first things I do is that I will almost always have all these odds and ends, sizes and shapes of papers. Different scrap strips, large pieces, small pieces, different things like that. And I have, I'll just show you real quick. We're getting ready to move. Everything is stacked everywhere. I apologize for the crashing behind me. I have a tote right here that I have labeled as small paper scraps. And I have a larger tote that says large, or not a larger tote, but another tote the same size that says large paper scraps. Another one that is specialty paper scraps. And yet another that is collage backgrounds. And those are for really big paper scraps that are big enough that I could do a collage with them and have it be an entire background. And so those three tubs I tend to sort things into. But when I have a set of themed scraps, like I have a set of Christmas themed scraps right now, I don't just put them into the other scrap tubs. I will go through and I will make as much use of those scraps as I can. So I start with my biggest punches. And this scallop edged circle happens to be my biggest punch, and I believe it's a 2-inch punch. Not that that really matters right now, but no, it's a 2.5-inch punch. And I will go through, and all of the papers that are big enough to get a punch that large out of, I will punch. And I'll punch as many as I can. And then I go to my next biggest punch, which I believe is this hexagon. This hexagon and my large tag are probably pretty close in area, but the hexagon will get places that my tag won't. And so I'll punch a bunch of those tags, or hexagons, excuse me. And then next I'll move to my tag punch. I will tell you that not all of the things that I punch out with my punches afterwards make it into the Christmas sorting, because some of them, like that one, don't necessarily look like Christmas. So I'll just put them into my basket over here that has all of my other punches. And this is what I do with a lot of things. When my papers get small and I really don't want to waste them, I'll just go through and I'll punch things out. And a lot of times these will be extras that'll go into an order, or goodies that I will send to somebody who is looking for a little bit of ephemera or whatever. And I keep that basket there. And I will reach into it when I'm making journals as well, because sometimes I just need a pop of color to put on a page. Then I will move from my larger punches to my smaller punches. And I do large first, and then I set them into a bowl, and then I do the small so that I don't have everything going on. I don't normally have piles and piles and piles as I'm going through here. I did this for the video and then forgot to video. But I do keep the longer strips like this, because I do keep these long strips. I normally keep them in this jar behind me. Let's see if we get another crash right here. And I keep that on my cart so that I can just grab a strip if I need to back up a quote, or if I need just to strengthen the edge of a page or something. But I don't want to put my Christmas strips in there. So they will go into this. Then I will get my other punches and go according to size as I am making my, let's see, what shall we call it? Rescue efforts. This punch gives me this size. And those are actually two that could go either into the Christmas or into the everyday, because they're not technically Christmas. This one has a stocking and a gingerbread man and a cupcake with holly. That's Christmas. And then my heart punch. These are simply squares. And I have a couple of these banners from when I cut a strip. I had a strip of paper this long, and I cut a bunch of my hexes out, hexagons, and was left with this. And I'm like, oh, I have a banner. All right, that works. And so those go there. My smaller punch, tag punch right here. And then I even make some tabs. And they don't necessarily have to be just scrap paper or whatever. This one is from an ad, and this is actually a dress, a print that's on a dress. And I thought that was really pretty, and I had just enough to make a tag, so I did. Some of these are from cards. These gold and silver stars are each from those lined envelopes that have the really pretty inside decoration on the envelope. And these hearts are from that as well. I haven't gone through my Christmas cards yet. And how I go through those is I will save the fronts. If there's not a special message that's on the inside of the front, then I will save the fronts that I think will work well in future journals or in making more cards. Some of the fronts are not really lending themselves to either one of those, but I can use my punches on them and get a whole bunch of useful things. I do save the messages on the inside if they're personal. I have a box that I save them in, and I'm actually going to decorate that box, so I may make a video of how I do that with my decoupage and tissue paper and stuff. Let's see. Also, I just want to show you real quick. These are from an Illustrated Faith package. It was a bookmark package, and it had all these bookmarks, and I didn't think that these necessarily looked like Christmas, so they're over in my stack of non-Christmas saving things because I can use them elsewhere. But this is what you take the tags off of, and I hate to waste that usable paper. And my tiny star punch fits on it perfect, except for sometimes I end up with shooting stars if I forget to cover it. Matter of fact, I have a star that went shooting over my desk that I have to go rescue. See, they just pop on it out of it like that. And you're wasting much less paper, and you have more stars. Let's see. I do try to use the paper as wisely as I can. Here's an example. This is a piece of paper that I had, and it was that big when I started. And I got 3 of the large scallops. I got a couple of hearts. I got some tags. I got 3 of the tags, and then I got 4, 5, 6 stars out of it with very little waste. Let me see if I can show you that just a little bit better on a cleaner piece, cleaner background. Let's see, do I have one? Yes. And it's such a skeleton that it's kind of hard to move around. But that is all the paper that gets thrown away. And I will use all of those other pieces. So I wanted to share that part with you on how I go through my papers. Also, I had a sticker pack that I used on some of my stuff, and this was all that was left on a great big sheet. I took my circle punch and just punched out around those stars so that I still have the adhesive on the paper instead of the whole big sheet where things could get peeled off. And I just put these in with my stickers. these aren't necessarily Christmas either. The next thing I do, I'm going to go ahead and scoop all of these in. That one's not done yet. Sit it over there. Sorry, you're going to see a couple of glares from my lights because I had those covering up some of the spotlight, I guess. I'll be so excited to get into my new studio. It's ridiculous how excited I am. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about acrylic blocks and the differences, my favorites, and how I use them, okay? A lot of acrylic blocks just come like this. You can see that there are little lines on them. Those are, I think, usually 1/2 inch lines to help you line up. They are like 3/8 of an inch, so that didn't help. But it gives you straight lines and perpendicular corners to work with. And as I'm using them, some of my blocks are thin. You can see how thin those are. This one's not as thin, still too thin for the trick that I wanted to show you though. When I'm cleaning up, I just pull over my tub and then I can pull everything off, and I clean both the acrylic block and the stamp. I put everything that needs to be washed into one tub. That way nothing gets lost, nothing gets misplaced. It all gets cleaned at the same time when I take it into my bathroom that's just off my studio here. This is what I wanted to show you. These blocks that are thicker, I put 2 stamps on. I will put a stamp on each side, especially like this one, because I was making cards. And with the 3 stamps here, I was stamping on the inside of the cards with these 2 blocks. And this block I have 1 stamp on. And I would stamp in the middle. And it says, "Wishing you a season of love and joy." And then I would set it on its edge. It's thick enough to do that. I don't have to worry about setting something else on top of it and accidentally stamping, which I have done. Because if I did that and I set that on there, all of a sudden I've got red ink on the back. And that's not what I want. So I can set that on its side, and I can pull it into my little parking garage type thing here where I'm less likely to knock it over as well. If you don't have that, you can still set it to the side. Then this stamp, I have 2 stamps on. And this is what I really liked about doing this way. Besides not having to use a whole bunch of stamp blocks, I can do this, flip it, and do that. And I didn't have to fiddle around with grabbing a whole nother block or pulling the stamp off, putting it on another block. I didn't have to have 2 blocks for that. So that is a tip there. And then this one, as large as it is, I can still park it, although it doesn't balance as easily, but it balances. Let's see, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull these off while I'm thinking about it, since I am cleaning up. And this was a video to show you what I do when I'm cleaning up. Oops, I forgot to take the video. Do make sure you take your stamps off both sides when you do the 2-sided. Okay? Now, over the holidays, I did order some stamp blocks. And I'm not unhappy with any of them. This is one that I previously had. Again, it's a thinner one, so it doesn't work for the standing up. So I was looking for more of them that would stand up. And this one and this one are a little on the edge of being too thin. I think that these were all thicker ones. I was quite happy with them. The only issue I had, and I don't know how you would know this from ordering, except for I am going to share the information for each of the kind of blocks in the listing below. Some of them come and they're just like that. They are ready to use right out of the package. Stand up, good, everything's fine. Here's another one that was also standing up. And I had a block on each side, or a stamp, excuse me, on each side of the block. These, however, wouldn't have been so bad had it been like this. I mean, I still had to finagle. I already took them off of a couple of the other ones. There's this sticky paper on here that is very difficult to get started. I finally had figured out that if I broke down and got my tweezers and got that little edge on there, that it came off much easier. And I believe that this stamp block is one that had no lines on it. If I remember right. We'll find out when I pull this other piece off. And see, I'm not fond of having to pull that paper off myself. Yes, this is one that had no lines. And I just wanted to try it out because I don't always seem to need the lines, and it was less expensive if it didn't have the lines. But these here, I still haven't completely peeled one because I did all of that side. It was one piece. This side, look, each of those is a little block that you have to find an edge on and peel up. And I just did 4 blocks on that one and got tired of it. So do be forewarned that sometimes when you get stamp blocks, you may have to do a little bit of work before you can actually use them. I hope that you were able to get some, let's see, some tips and tricks. Also, I will just tell you, don't just stack up your stencils that you're going to wash with the papers that they're in, because I forgot. I had them all in there, plopped them all into the tub, and into the water they went. And I had to wait for my papers to dry, and now they're all wonky and messed up because they were still inside the plastic sleeve. Yeah. I also just go ahead and throw all of my brushes into there as well, into the tub. I have a separate brush for most of the colors, like greens. I do all with the same one. Reds and pinks, purples. I do share the colors on the brushes as long as they're close. Now, I'm not going to do a really light blue and a really dark blue with the same one because it's just going to affect the color. And it's all going to end up dark blue, and I'm not going to be happy about it. So there is some of my habits for cleaning up after doing a Christmas project. I do notice that I've got a couple of loose little stamps here that I will throw in there. They weren't from Christmas, but apparently I forgot to put them up after the project before that. So I hope everybody had happy holidays, however you have or are or will be celebrating them. I hope that 2021 is very, very good to you. And I ask you to remember, as always, to be kind. Bye.